Conformation. The head. A strong head with large, soft brown eyes without a wild or untamed look. A strong, slightly curved nose with wide nostrils, deep, broad, well-shaped lower jaw, and a prominent nasal bone and interlocking jaws. Up to 6 teeth of age must have a perfect 100% bite. 8 tooth and older may show 6 millimeter protrusion. Permanent teeth must cut in the correct anatomical place. The forehead must be prominently curved, linking up with the curve of the nose and the horns. Horns should be strong, of moderate length, and placed moderately apart with a gradual backward curve. Horns have to be as round and solid as possible and dark in color. Ears are to be broad, smooth, and of medium length hanging downwards from the head. Ears that are too short or undesirable. Characteristic cull defects of the head could be various. Concave forehead, horns too straight or too flat. The tips of the horns must not be pressed against the neck. Pointed jaw, ears folded lengthwise, stiff protruding ears, ears too short, over or undershot jaw, and blue eyes. The neck and forequarters. A neck of moderate length in proportion to the length of the body. Full and well-fleshed and well-joined to the forequarter is essential. The sternum should be broad with a deep and moderate chest projection. The shoulders should be fleshy in proportion to the rest of the body, well-fitted to the withers. The withers should be broad, as well-fitted as possible, not sharp. The front legs should be of medium length and in proportion to the depth of the body. The legs should be strong and well-placed, with strong pasterns and well-formed hooves as dark as possible. Characteristic cull defects: too long, neck too thick, short neck, shoulders too loose. The barrel. The ideal is a long, deep, broad barrel. The ribs must be well sprung and fleshed, and the loins as well filled as possible. The goat should have a broad, fairly straight back and must not be pinched behind the shoulders. Characteristic cull defects: back too concave, too slab-sided, cylindrical, pinched behind the shoulders. The hindquarters. The Boer goat should have a broad and long rump, not sloping too much, well-fleshed buttocks, which are not too flat and have fully fleshed thighs. The tail must be straight where it grows out of the dock and then may swing either side. Characteristic cull defects: a rump that hangs too much or is too short, a too long shank or flat buttocks. Short, muscular is undesirable. The tail. The tail may be red, but the red color may not continue onto the body for more than 2.5 centimeters. Red hair covering. Very few red hair is permissible within the coat from 2 tooth and onwards. In the rams, 2 reasonably large, well-formed, healthy and equal in size testes in 1 scrotum. Scrotum with a split no larger than 5 centimeters is permissible. The scrotum must be at least 28 centimeters in circumference and in proportion to the body. A well-shaped and sturdy attached udder with teats, acceptable as guidelines and will be valid and binding until research results confirm or prove otherwise. Characteristic cull defects: bunched, calabash or split teats, testes too small, scrotum with more than a 5 centimeter split in the scrotum. Coloring. The ideal is a white goat with a red head, preferably with a white blaze, and fully pigmented skin. Shadings between the light and dark red are permissible. The minimum requirement for a stud animal is a patch of at least 10 centimeters in diameter on both sides of the head, ears excluded. Both ears should have at least 75% red coloring with 75% pigmentation in the hairless areas. There may be no variation of the color of a stud buck In other words, it must be a pure color. Minimum color for flock goats: 10 centimeters on either side of the head with 25% color in the ears. Goat that is a flock goat because of color may not participate at the World Show, but may participate at regional or club shows. The following color is permissible for stud purposes in the head, neck, and forequarters. Consistent color is permissible but must not go further than the shoulder, nor lower than the level of the chest. The barrel, hindquarter, and belly. Only one patch not exceeding 10 centimeters in diameter is permissible. The legs. The term legs means the portion below the imaginary line formed by the chest and the underline. Patches with a combined diameter of 5 centimeters is permissible. Pigmentation. Discriminate against too light pigmentation. In flock goats is a boer goat which does not comply with stud standards but has no cull defects. At least 50% of the color must be white. The other 50% must be red. The red color of the commercial goat must be 50% continuous without creating the impression of being motley. The rest of the body must be white. If the red color is in the form of separate markings, it must never give the impression of being motley. Under the tail, the flock goat must be at least 25% pigmentated. Skin and covering. A loose, supple skin with sufficient chest and neck skin folds, especially in the case of rams, is essential. Eyelids and the hairless parts of the body must be pigmented. The hairless skin under the tail should have at least 75% pigmentation for stud purposes, with 100% pigmentation being the ideal. A limited amount of fur will be tolerated during winter months. Cull defects: covering too long and coarse or too furry, and a lack of pigmentation at the hairless parts.